Like, wokeness basically wants to make comedy illegal, which is not cool.
We've experienced a little bit of that.
I mean, Chappelle, like, what the...
Flower bed.
I mean, try to shut down Chappelle? Come on, man. That's crazy. You know, so do we want a humorless society that is simply rife with condemnation and hate, basically? At its heart, wokeness is divisive, exclusionary, and hateful. It basically gives mean people a reason, it gives them a shield to be mean and cruel, armored in false virtue.
Well, you were pretty mean to Senator Warren, though, on Twitter recently. You slammed her, man. Please don't call the manager on me, Senator Karen.
She struck first, obviously.
Right.
Yes, she did.
She called me a freeloader and a grifter who doesn't pay taxes, basically. And I'm literally paying the most tax that any individual in history has ever paid this year, ever. And she doesn't pay taxes, basically at all. And her salary is paid for by the taxpayer.
Could you even use, use TurboTax? Would that even work?
If you could die by irony, she would be dead. It is a prevalent mind virus and arguably one of the biggest threats to modern civilization.
Elon Musk just ended the woke mob. This is the most delicious, satisfying and juicy interview I've ever seen with Elon. Elon Musk also completely eviscerates Senator Karen, pointing out her incredible hypocrisy and has a few thoughts about the political left. And Elon also shares some insights around his net worth and exactly why he's sold Tesla stock. I've made a supercut of all the highlights first, and then after those I'll share my thoughts and opinions. So let's get into the video. Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you enjoy these videos, there's a bunch of ways you can support the channel, access exclusive content and perks, and get some free stocks and crypto. Check out the links in the pinned comment below. You can get 2 free stocks with WeBull, a free stock with Stake, free Bitcoin with Coinbase, and free Bitcoin with BlockFi, and the BlockFi Bitcoin Rewards credit card. You can also pick up some Tesla, Elon, and investment themed merch in the merch store. If you want to take it to the next level, join thousands of members on Patreon to gain exclusive access to over 100 Q&A videos, loads of exclusive content, exclusive access to my up-to-date 10-year Tesla stock price targets, and even access my Tesla valuation model at the investor support level and above. So check out the links in the pinned comment below, and thanks for your support.
You talked about the woke mind virus, and I was wondering if you could decipher this tweet of yours for me, because I'm not a programmer. You wrote trace route woke _mind _virus. What does that mean?
Okay, so traceroute is a networking command to, so if you want to figure out a path to a particular server or domain, you'd say traceroute, or in Windows, traceRT. That would show you the path to a particular source server, either an IP address or domain name, and it would show you basically all the hops that it goes through, and the latency between each hop. And so
I know some of those words.
Yeah. So traceroute would be like, where did it come from?
Yeah.
Where did the virus come from? What is its origin?
So did this work? Did this command work? Or no? Did you
You can read the comments. Read the comments and see.
All right.
It is a prevalent mind virus and arguably one of the biggest threats to modern civilization.
You're working on some of those problems, but the problem of wokeness specifically, you mentioned that's like a mind virus and it's destructive. And why do you think wokeness is so destructive?
I'd be interested in your opinions too. But, generally, I think we should be aiming for like a positive society and, that it should be okay to, be humorous. We should wokeness basically wants to make comedy illegal, which is not cool.
We've experienced a little bit of that.
I mean, Chappelle, like what the...
Flower bed.
I mean, try to shut down Chappelle? Come on, man. That's crazy. So do we want a humorless society that is simply rife with condemnation and hate, basically?
And no forgiveness, right?
Yeah. At its heart, wokeness is divisive, exclusionary, and hateful. It basically gives mean people a reason. It gives them a shield to be mean and cruel, armored in false virtue. What do you think?
I'd agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, we've obviously seen that from the left, just ourselves. The left is almost this religion now, where they're so serious and they believe what they believe with such intensity that for us to make fun of them, for them it's like you're making fun of God or salvation, So they're almost the new religious right in our view.
Yeah.
He agreed with me. Everybody take note. Well, you were pretty mean to Senator Warren, though, on Twitter recently. You slammed her, man. Please don't call the manager on me, Senator Karen.
She struck first, obviously.
Right.
Yes, she did.
She called me a freeloader
Yeah.
and a grifter who doesn't pay taxes, basically. And I'm literally paying the most tax that any individual in history has ever paid this year, ever. And she doesn't pay taxes, basically at all. And her salary is paid for by the taxpayer.
Could you even use? Could you use TurboTax?
irony?
Would that even work?
If you could die by irony, she would be dead. If irony could kill.
What would happen if you walked into an H&R Block to file your taxes? Like, could they handle your case?
My taxes are actually not that complicated. I do not have any offshore accounts. I do not have any sort of tax shelters. I have basically Tesla and SpaceX stock, and Tesla is publicly traded, so all information is public. And SpaceX is, a C corp that is audited. It has outside auditors, so it'll with outside investors. So everything is extremely transparent. There are no elaborate sort of tax avoidance schemes or anything like that. So H&R Block could easily do my taxes. I don't need H&R Block. I could do it.
Yeah.
I would probably take me a few hours to do my taxes. It's very basic.
Did you sell that stock in Tesla because of the Twitter poll?
In part.
Had you made up your mind that you were already going to do that before the Twitter poll?
I have some Tesla options that are expiring next year, so I needed to exercise those options no matter what. And I was like, okay, I'll move forward and exercise those options. So that certainly would be part of it no matter what. But then over and above that, I sold incremental stock, try to get up to the 10% level. So just the option exercise alone would not get to 10%. So I sold stock that should be roughly make my total Tesla share sale roughly 10%. Essentially all of my net worth is just in SpaceX and Tesla stock. These two companies that I helped create and have run for now almost 20 years have done a lot of useful things. SpaceX launches more payload to orbit than the rest of the world combined, and has a global internet system called Starlink, and is the primary the only U.S. provider of astronaut transport to the space station.
We publish 6 to 8 satire articles a day.
Some of them are funny. So that's, pretty good.
So SpaceX, it transports U.S. And as well as non-U.S. Astronauts to the space station that was previously the U.S. was dependent on Russia, who was doing a good job, but charging kind of crazy money per seat. So with SpaceX, the cost per astronaut dropped dramatically, and the money went to jobs in the U.S. So that's why people think SpaceX is valuable. Tesla.
The annoyance though of like people holding it against you that you've had success, holding it against you that you have wealth, viewing billionaires as evil, and you're not doing enough to give back. You have like the Elizabeth Warren thing that you haven't paid your fair share. That's that's got to be kind of aggravating.
Yeah, I think it's just important to understand like what is this wealth? It's not like I've got like some massive cash balance. My cash balances are very, very low, and at least until I sold stock, which is really the first time I've actually sold stock in any meaningful way, was this quarter. I simply had loans against my stock. So if Tesla and SpaceX went bankrupt, I would go bankrupt too immediately. So
it's not realized, is what you're saying. Yeah, it's not.
No, it's just like people. It's like I built these two companies, and it was extremely difficult to build them. Like massively painful and difficult, rewarding too, but but massively painful and difficult. And I didn't sell the stock in the companies. My sort of impression was that you shouldn't take money off the table, or you shouldn't take stock off the table and de-risk things. That a captain should go down with their ship. So it's like, okay, I don't want to take money off the table, and then if the companies fail, then I'll be sort of enriched while investors suffer, and that does not seem right. So anyway, that's the reason I didn't sell. Is I could easily have diversified and protected myself financially if SpaceX or Tesla went bankrupt, but I did not. SpaceX and Tesla came very close to bankruptcy many times. Even when bankruptcy was literally weeks away, I did not sell stock. And then the companies became valuable. Not Tesla's value and SpaceX's value is not it's not up to me, it's up to investors. And they decided Tesla was worth $1 trillion in the public market. So, and I own 20% of the company. So
you're not apologizing right now. You're not going to look into the camera and say, I'm so sorry.
Look in the camera right now.
I'm just trying to explain, I don't think people necessarily understand.
They don't, yeah.
This is not, some function of sort of hoarding or something. It's simply that, I own 20% of the company that became very valuable as decided by external investors. And so 20% of $1 trillion valuation is $200 billion. And I've said at various times that I think the stock price is too high, but the investors just ignored that. I'm like, okay, I literally said it's too high. And they just kept making that price higher. So I'm like,
tell them our value is too high.
So anyway, so it's just but like I said, this is not like my so-called wealth. It's not some deep mystery. It's simply what is my ownership percentage of SpaceX and Tesla, multiply that by the valuation, that's my net worth. It's super simple, and my taxes are super simple. And I have no offshore accounts, no sort of clever tax evasion or anything like that. And I don't draw a salary or any cash salary or bonus from the companies at all. And I thought that was morally good to not do that. Like there was one year, I think 2018, where I didn't pay any tax, but that's because I didn't have any income. But I did have a little bit of income, but I'd actually overpaid taxes, I think in 2017. So I paid too much tax. And so I basically netted that out in 2018 because I paid too much tax in 2017, but accidentally. Unless you sell stock, there are no realized gains. So then I was like, well, should I sell? What am I supposed to do? Send shares to the government somehow? I don't know if you can even do that.
Yeah.
So then I was like, well, unless I sell shares, there's no actual mechanism to pay tax. So then I was like, well, should I sell 10%, in order to pay tax? And I sort of asked Twitter, and they're like, on balance, they said yes. And so I sold enough stock to get to around 10% plus the option exercise stuff. And I try to be extremely literal. So that you don't generally need to read between the lines, you can just read the lines.
Well, two things are for sure. One, Elon Musk has gigantic balls and is willing to speak his mind. And two, many on the political left are going to lose their fucking minds over this interview. So let's recap what Elon said, and I'll share some thoughts and opinions along the way. Regular viewers of this channel will be well aware, every opportunity I get to lay a cable over the face of the woke mob, I do exactly that. I've melted countless snowflakes, caused incredible amount of butthurt, triggered so many emotional infants, lost thousands of subscribers, and give literally zero fucks, because like Elon, when something's important, I'll speak up. And I absolutely agree with Elon. I believe that the woke mind virus is one of the greatest threats to modern civilization, and that is not hyperbole. So let's review some of the highlights. Elon Musk was asked about a recent tweet, some programming speak regarding the woke mind virus, and he was clarifying the whole purpose of that tweet was really just to ask the question, where did the woke mind virus come from? What is its origin? And this is a very important question to ask. Elon Musk followed up and said that he believes that wokeness is arguably the biggest threat to modern civilization, and I absolutely agree. Now it's worth taking a quick moment here for those of you who haven't read The Selfish Gene by Richard Dawkins. One, what are you doing with your life? And two, you probably should. Every single person watching knows what a meme is. Well, guess who coined that term? Richard Dawkins. And like organisms compete in the natural environment and evolve through natural selection, so too do ideas in the intellectual environment. And the woke mind virus, as the term suggests, truly is a virus. This ideology infects a host and spreads rapidly. Elon Musk continued with some extremely reasonable comments. I quote, "We should be aiming for a positive society." Does anyone disagree with that? And it should be okay to be humorous. Well, Elon, I completely agree. Wokeness basically wants to make comedy illegal, and Elon pointed out the absurdity of the woke mob's attempts to cancel Dave Chappelle. I mean, come on. Some of Elon's thoughts in this interview were the most eloquent I've heard discussing the woke mob, so let's continue. Quote, "Do we want a humorless society that is basically rife with condemnation and hate? I certainly don't. At its heart, wokeness is divisive, exclusionary, and hateful." Elon hit the nail on the f***ing head. Yet of course, everyone infected with the woke mind virus will tell you the complete opposite. They're trying to do good. They're trying to address injustices in the world. And you're just a bigot, or a misogynist, or a sexist, or a racist if you don't agree, and you should be cancelled. Again, back to the analogy of the mind virus. It infects people and makes them completely f***ing brain dead. Loopy, just absolutely mad. Elon just continued to drop the gems. Wokeness basically gives mean people a shield to be mean and cruel, armoured in false virtue. couldn't have said it better myself. Elon Musk also went on to sum up his Twitter interactions with Senator Karen, a true swamp creature if there ever was one. Senator Karen called Elon a freeloader who basically doesn't pay taxes. Yet Elon is paying more taxes this year than anyone ever in the history of the United States. And it wasn't just that Senator Karen said this on Twitter. She also ran a despicable Facebook advertising campaign, specifically attacking Elon Musk and again reiterating the false narrative that he doesn't pay taxes and that he's a freeloader. It's insane. And the irony, of course, this advertising campaign was literally asking for donations from people. As Elon pointed out, Senator Karen basically doesn't pay taxes and her salary is paid by taxpayers. Elon summed it up perfectly. If it was possible to die from irony, Senator Karen would be long dead. Think about this, right? Taxpayers paying her salary, she basically pays no taxes. She's calling Elon Musk a freeloader who doesn't pay his taxes, and he's paying more taxes than anyone in the history of the United States, in fact, the entire planet, in a single year. Senator Karen is truly one of the largest piles of human excrement to ever live, and that is saying something. Elon also clarified his sales of Tesla stock. The majority of Elon's stock sales were pre-prepared. He needed to sell these to exercise his Tesla stock options. But Elon also made the Twitter poll asking should he sell 10% of his holdings. Twitter said yes, and he said, okay, great, I'm going to round this up to 10%, pay a little bit of extra tax that I don't need to pay, probably in a foolish attempt to appease the woke mob. Elon, you're never going to get through to these faces, so don't bother. Elon Musk also clarifying his net worth situation. Basically, 100% of his net worth is tied up in SpaceX and Tesla stock. He hasn't diversified, he hasn't tried to spread out his risk. A lot of people seem to have these strange ideas in their minds that billionaires are just swimming in pools of money, living lavish lifestyles, chilling on yachts with champagne and models, and conspicuously consuming. This is absolutely not the case, at least for Elon Musk. Elon Musk also took the time to explain that SpaceX is the only company capable of launching US astronauts from US soil to the International Space Station, and doing so for a much cheaper price than Russia was previously charging. Just to provide some background information, many on the left, the political left, have been attacking Elon Musk, attacking billionaires, and mocking people with their space companies, trying to frame things as if these space companies are just silly billionaires playing with their rockets, their toys, painting these companies as if they've got no utility whatsoever. Meanwhile, SpaceX is saving US taxpayers a colossal amount of money because they're no longer needing to pay Russia exorbitant fees to launch astronauts to the space station. And until Elon sold stock this quarter, he had more than 100% of his net worth tied up in SpaceX and Tesla because he had borrowed against his stock in these companies because he doesn't receive a salary. And spoiler alert, you guys may have noticed in the past, Elon Musk has made massive donations to charities and for incentive prices. Where do you think the money came from? Elon doesn't take a salary. The guy's literally been borrowing against his stock, not only to pay his own meager living expenses, but also to do good in the world outside of Tesla and SpaceX, yet still he gets attacked. And the point here, if SpaceX or Tesla goes bankrupt, while Elon has more than 100% of his net worth in those companies, if they go bust, Elon goes bankrupt as well. As he said, the captain should really go down with the ship. And on being the richest man in the world, Elon has built two companies which were extremely difficult and extremely painful to build. And the stock market has decided what those companies are worth, and that's what makes up Elon Musk's net worth. The reason Elon is the richest man in the world isn't because he's greedy, isn't because he's selfish, it's because he's built two extremely useful companies and gone through hell to do so, and the stock market, not Elon, the stock market has collectively decided what they're worth. And Elon's ownership stake in those companies is what determines his net worth. He hasn't stolen this money from other people. He hasn't trampled people. He hasn't robbed the poor. He's created valuable companies, and this is non-liquid net worth. So in summary, I completely agree with Elon Musk. The woke mind virus, wokeism, is one of, if not the single greatest threats to modern civilization, unquestionably. And no, this is not hyperbole. And the level of respect that I have for Elon Musk for having the courage to not only speak his mind, but doing so knowing the entire left, the mainstream media, and all these woke maniacs are going to be attacking him, slandering him, and going after him as a result. What can I say? I admire Elon's courage and conviction for speaking out. Consequences be damned. As always, there's a link in the description to the full interview. Let me know what you guys and girls thought. Do you agree with what Elon had to say? Do you personally think that wokeism is one of the biggest threats to modern civilization? Did you disagree with any of the points? And do you happen to know anyone personally who's been infected by the woke mind virus? Now, I do have to be careful what I say here on YouTube, lest I get cancelled, so just a reminder, if you'd like to hear my unfiltered thoughts on many topics, including the woke mind virus, which I've discussed at length, head over to Patreon with the card in the corner, or the link in the pinned comment. I can share my thoughts much more openly and freely there without fear of being cancelled. At least I hope so. Hasn't happened yet. And I'll see you guys in the next video. I'm Stephen Mark Ryan, this is Solving the Money Problem, and I love you all. Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you enjoy these videos, there's a bunch of ways you can support the channel, access exclusive content and perks, and get some free stocks and crypto. Check out the links in the pinned comment below. You can get 2 free stocks with WeBull, a free stock with Stake, free Bitcoin with Coinbase, and free Bitcoin with BlockFi, and the BlockFi Bitcoin Rewards credit card. You can also pick up some Tesla, Elon, and investment themed merch in the merch store. If you want to take it to the next level, join thousands of members on Patreon to gain exclusive access to over 100 Q&A videos, loads of exclusive content, exclusive access to my up-to-date 10-year Tesla stock price targets, and even access my Tesla valuation model at the investor support level and above. So check out the links in the pinned comment below, and thanks for your support. And if you're still watching, you're awesome. I read every single comment on this channel and I really appreciate your feedback. So if you've got any thoughts on today's video, questions, comments, or suggestions for a new video, let me know in the comments below. Check the cards on screen now to browse the merch store, join Patreon, or watch the next video.